Hey guys, good morning. I'm Dr. Ted Morter and welcome to Morter March Monday. Glad that you're with me here today and I hope that you'll enjoy what I'm going to talk about today. I thought about this over the weekend and from my experiences. I like to relate experiences that I've had and things that I watch and observe and, kind of take to heart and listen to I entitled it this morning, Listen Up. And here's why I'm going to say this. I'm going to give you some tips today, some ideas about how to make your life better in your relationships you're dealing with people. And it's all on you. It's all on me for myself personally. It's on you personally to make this change in your life. If you're having a challenge and you're dealing with people and you're not communicating well, let's just put it that way. Let's just say you're talking and they're talking, but nobody's really listening. So I'm going to say you need to listen up a little bit. You need to become an effective listener. See, you're going to engage people and have better conversations if you just shut your mouth and don't talk very much. Because if you don't talk a lot, you'll get the other person to talk and reveal who they are and what they believe and how they feel and what's going on in their lives, and it creates a much better conversation. Here's what I'm getting at. Have you ever been in a conversation where you're talking to somebody and they ask you a question, and when you start to give the answer to the question, they don't even listen. They're not even paying attention. They ask you a question about something. How you doing with this? And what's going on with that? Or what happened over there? And you start to talk about it and they just kind of go into a daze like this. And you can tell they're not even listening. They're not even listening to anything. Hi, Diane. They're not listening to anything that you have to say. This is a habit that a lot of people get into. And what happens in your conscious thinking mind, you're already coming up with a solution to what they're going to say, or let me rephrase that. I'm going to give the answer, but they're already listening and thinking about what they're going to ask for the next question, or they're going to be a one-upper. These are people that don't really pay attention to what you have to say. They're just trying to make some kind of a light conversation, but they're not really interested at all in anything you have to say. And they're moved on to the next discussion, or maybe they'll just change the subject again and talk about something else, and I'll look over and go, well, why did I even answer that question? That was a waste of my time. It's, a minute of my life I'll never get back. So my point to this is, don't be falling into that trap. When other people treat you that way and they're not really paying attention, jump in and ask more questions. And you have to direct the conversation. If you don't direct the conversation, the other person is going to direct the conversation, and you're probably not going to come out ahead on the deal. If it was in a competition for something or a sales or something, you're going to lose. If you're talking all the time, you're not listening. So it's a delicate balance between listening to what people are saying, anticipating what the next question is going to be or what their answer is going to be, but actually engaging. I think this is the word that I'm looking for. You have to listen and you have to engage. Now, to engage in conversation with someone, you need to ask them some questions. You need to nod your head a little bit, maybe say, tip your head, say, oh, that's very interesting. Tell me more about that. What does that mean? So here's the bottom line. Some people are not very good listeners at all. I want you to be a good listener. I want you to be able to carry on a conversation with somebody and have them go away from the conversation feeling better about themselves because you actually cared what they had to say, what answer to the question that they asked you. It's very important. If people go out of communication, leave a conversation, and they don't feel like they were heard, they don't feel like you paid any attention to what they were having to say, then they're going to feel poorly towards you, and it's not going to create a better relationship. So if you want to get the relationships going, ask questions, engage, listen, pay attention, ask a follow-up question, listen some more, ask another question. Why is it so? How'd you learn about that? Where'd you first experience that? These kinds of questions get people thinking that you really do care about what they have to say, and they really can engage with you as well. So you kind of train them a little bit how to engage. It doesn't work with everyone. Some people are just stuck in their own minds. They don't really care about anything else except asking a question just to fill some airspace and then move on to something else before you even get a chance to follow up and come up with, what your answer is. So be cognizant of that. Don't take it personally. It's not on me. It's not on you. It's on the person that you're dealing with. So remember that what you put out there is what you get back here. It's as simple as that. If you're putting out good positive vibes and you're putting out some good conversation, you should be getting that back. And if you're not, you're talking to the wrong person. So be a good communicator. And the first step to that is, good morning, Diane, again. Good morning, William. Good to see you're here. My point to this is to be engaging, pay attention, listen to their words, and then follow up with a question that would make them think a little bit deeper, or make them understand that you're actually in the conversation with them, not just blah, 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 talking, and not really coming up with anything of significant value. I think these are important points to become a better communicator. And communication is the key to everything. If you can't communicate with someone, then you're going to fall behind. You're going to lose. You're going to lose in the whole situation. So I'm going to be thankful and grateful today that I listen up. I'm a good listener. Think about that. How could you listen more effectively in your conversation with people? What could you do to be a more effective listener? Effective listener. You'd have to engage. You'd have to pay attention. You'd have to nod your head. You'd have to ask follow-up questions. You'd have to truly show some interest in what the person is talking about. So I'm going to be thankful and grateful that I'm a great listener. You think about how maybe a conversation you've had in the last few minutes or few days that you weren't a very good listener. You didn't pay much attention. You ended up in an argument. You ended up fighting. You ended up storming out of the room because you didn't have a good conversation. You got to be a good listener. Everybody likes to talk. Most people don't like to listen. But to be effective at your communication, your talking, you have to have a person that's actually listening to what you have to say. So you have to build that rapport. Be thankful and grateful to be a great listener. Take that with you for this week, and I think you'll have a better week. Listen more, talk less. Be a good listener. So I'm going to do the march today. I'm going to put my left foot out, my right arm up. I'm thankful and grateful. I am a great listener. I'm a great listener. I am a great listener. Okay? And we'll switch the other way. So now I've got my right foot out, my left arm up. I'm thankful and grateful. I am a great listener. I'm a great listener. I am a great listener. And remember, if you don't know how to do these things, go to Morter March Monday, watch those videos. They'll teach you how to do this and what's happening in the conscious and subconscious connections here with these movements that we do with our arms and our legs. I'm thankful and grateful. I'm a great listener. I am a great listener. I am a great listener. Okay? And we'll switch the other way. Thankful and grateful. I am a great listener. I am a great listener. I am a great listener. Okay? Switch back the other way. We're about done. We got one more to go here. I'm thankful and grateful. I am a great listener. I am a great listener. I'm such a great listener. I'm thankful and grateful for that. Hold your breath. Stretch your arms out a little bit. Feel it in your back. There's something just popped back there. Thankful and grateful. I am a great listener. Okay? Switch the other way. We're almost done. I'm thankful and grateful. I am a great listener. I'm a great listener. I am a great listener. I encourage you all this week. Make it a point to be a good listener. Ask a question and then listen for the answer. If you ask a question and then you're off to somewhere else, they're going to know that. And you're not really communicating. You're just taking up air, breathing air that could be for somebody else. Be thankful and grateful and be a great listener.